Then he spoke to Tar el Uthra, who set to work. He drew a thin draught of water. It fell into the Tibble, into the water that was not tasty, and the water of the Tibble became tasty, that the children of men drink it and taste it to them. Mandadahaya spoke to little Anush about the mystery of the Ruha and the angel of this world, a fire after which you do not speak or can hear, except the consuming fire after which they speak and can hear. When Mandadahaya consolidates you here and Mandadahaya redeems you from this world of darkness, I passed you between them, took away from them the living fire with which they are clothed, after which they cannot speak and hear, and lifted it up to its place, the light abode. I let her in the fire from which they were created, and I left the dress on them. One of them got hold of Tahil so that they may stand and shine in the world, so that these don't go down. I left it to him, because if I did not give it to him, his shine would have taken it from him, as I have taken it from all his. If I had taken brothers, this would have ended long ago, and all would be darkness until the end of the worlds. This world ocean which Tahil created and formed, which the whole Tibble there is a well around which an effusion came and fell into it. If he had not created this for the Tibble, the whole world would have ended in darkness. There would be nothing done and nothing done, and she would have not guessed. Well, you saw, little Anush, that I told you about the secret of the revealed evil of this world, which you saw and were afraid of. Before you trembled, I revealed to you about the secret of heaven and earth. I revealed to you about the secret of everything done, and made things that exist in the world, and taught you about them. I grant you splendor and light, that it may be with you in that first garment, and be the one that was given to you from the house of life, who is now with you and is guarded, from which the wicked fight to take it away. Without it they manage to take it away. Behold, without managing to take it away, behold, I have increased your splendor. I have increased light and light to you, that it may be with you in the form of these two men, your brothers, who have departed from you and come to you in the house of life. Behold, I have added strength to your strength. I have increased wisdom to you, and enlightenment and knowledge. Behold, I grant that to you which you speak, and with them you will be heard. Behold, I am now going to the house of life. Then I come and deliver you from the wicked and sinners of this world. The life will be directed at you as life as well, and good men will listen to your speech. I want you to deliver from the sword, fire, floods of water, and ascend on the way, and Satil and Mandadahaya will rise up from this world of evil. Mandadahaya addressed these words to his son, little Anush, and handed him Kushta. Then he went out and went after the house of life. He sat down in his father's Shkinta, and his life's eye was on him. Then Anush rose full of joy because of the brightness and the light that was given to him, and because the power that his father entrusted to him and shone and let to shine upon him. Those who are in the world look at the gentlemen of the house, who are intent on evil against these three men and against the garment. I stand by those who have lit up this world. The planets are talking thus to one another. These men have not shown themselves to us, for they fear in front of us. Whether they ran away from us or whether they hid from us, they showed themselves to us not. Now they showed, let her join us in her rich splendor and her great light. Now so are they lit up and standing there in rich and great shine and light. His brothers lost their fire and sword, and you couldn't get close to them now. Now you stand up for yourself. The planets speak. We can fight against the power of these men and do nothing, because they are more numerous than us. They will let you floods of water, but the floods of water will not reach them. You went to eliminate them by sword and fire, but did not succeed in eliminating them. Life stands firm in its Shkinta. Life is victorious over all works. Hibil, Situl, and Anush are victorious. Victorious is the people of the Nazorians, as well as the priests and the Mandaeans, who by their name and signs were drawn on the name of the first life, and adhered to the name and speech of Yawar Ziwa, and life is victorious. 12th book. In the name of the great life, let the name of and my wife and among the mighty Uthras the sons of light be raised up. I am the great Anush, the son of the great Sitil, the son of the great Adam, the son of the mighty kings of glory, the son of the leaves of all knowledge. My feet fed me up here. I am sitting in a place of rich splendor. I look to see this world, the sky and the earth, the sun, the moon, and the stars, and the light of which I stand, and the power to charge in which you stand. With whose power are they standing? With whose light are they shining? I opened my eyes and raised my brows. Then I looked and saw a large brazier of splendor, firmly in the hand of angels, located in 12 angels on the dark mountains under the great bridge of brilliance. You carry it up and bring it to the gate of the Yashana, to the place where the builder of heaven and earth, his throne is established. Again I opened my eyes and raised my brows, because I looked and saw a great gate that was open in heaven. 1,000 times 1,000 brilliant beings stood at his right hand, and 10,000 on his left. A shining being stepped out of the house of life, whose splendor was 42 times as great as that of Rba. When I saw that shining being, I trembled, and my body trembled, and my feet did not stand on my frame fixed. I fell and fell in front of him. There stood an angel of glory standing up in front of him, and took hold of me by the area of the right hand, straightened me, stood me up in front of him, and said to me, "Come, great Anush, son of the great Sitil, son of the great Adam, son of the mighty kings of the house of glory, son of the place of light, son of the leaves of all knowledge. Come, I want to reveal to you about the great life. It's down here written and laid down on the great mountain. Come, I will reveal to you about the heaven that the children called heaven. Well, it is not heaven. Fog clouds are there. The Abathur, by the power and the name of the builder of heaven, he founded the earth. Come, I will reveal to you about the stars that shine on him. There are 12 angels. Some of them are about the east of the sky and of the earth. Some of them are over the sun, and the darkness was set in. As you are here, so you are there. Come, I will reveal to you about this earth, which the children of men call it earth, but it is not the earth. Rather, it is a water from Hus. The great seas are running year by year and month by month. It flows there and creates a path for the children of men. Come on, I want to reveal to you about this detachment, which in the morning horror rises. Some are happy, some are sad about it. The head is pure light. He is an unmarried man, a merchant, violent, brave, sprightly, and stands up in the great time. A great mast of splendor is set up in it. Ropes of light are placed in it. 12 angels pull and run on the dark mountains under the great bridge of brilliance. They carry them up and bring them to the great gate of the Yashana, to the place where the builder of heaven and earth and a throne is established. Come on, I want to reveal to you about the detachment that took place in the night that is set up. His head is pure water. He is an unmarried man, a merchant, forceful, brave, sprightly, and standing in the great time. A great mast, the light of glory, is set up. Ropes of light are laid down in it. 12 angels draw them up and lead them to the dark mountain. You bring them to the great gate of the Yashana, the place where the builder of heaven and earth has a throne. Come, I will reveal to you, my brother, these men of those who are here in the Tibble. They go to their measure and are full of the world. You search and find from the prayers and from the treasury of life, from their prayers and praises, and dress yourself with shining garments and cover yourself with light. Clothing over, you put clothes on, that you cover yourselves with light over light. You laugh, rejoice, bounce, flaunt, and enjoy yourself. And we say that life stands firm and upright in its Shkinta. Life is victorious about all the works. Second piece. In the name of the great life, be glorified by the noble light. Come in goodness, Kushta, light that goes to the house of your friends. You are the chosen, victorious one. Your strength is the strength of the whole tribe of victory. You are a perfect Gimra, the chosen one without fail. You are the path of the perfect, the path that ascends to the place of light. You are the life of eternity, whom you have devoted yourself to and placed in every true heart. Woe to him who does not listen to you, my mistress, and whose path through the dwellings of indulgence you are. And you are the weapon of the perfect, the truth without the error. You are wise and pleasant. You teach wisdom and praise to all who love your name. Hail to him who listens to you, my mistress, and walks behind you on the path. You are the day of joy, where there is no grief and lamentation. You are a wreath of victories placed around the head of the enlightened. You are the tongue of praise, who praises life every day. You are the first device that created life. You are the light of the great, which you went and came into the world. You are the cure that all who love your name are healed. You are the eye of men of tried righteousness that comes to life every day. You are a sweet fruit from a taste that does not bring death. You are the first comrade, the planting that came from the house of life. You are the first sound which life created from its nature. You are the chief of the Ginza Rbas, to whom life gave dominion over everything. The dead heard you and lived on. The sick heard and sniffed. You forgive the chosen and perfect, in whose heart Kushta has taken a seat. Life is victorious, and victorious is the man who came there and left. Third piece. According to the space in which the gentle lived, my heart is chosen among the elect. I am a chosen one. I cry, the smell of the life surrounds me. I am a stranger. They filled me with longing for the good Nazorians. May he remember me before life, and may my friend be the right and good father. One who stands victorious before life. I opened the seal of the Tibble and looked into everything in it. I watched Uthras, and it is a worthy space. I am a rose, a son of a chosen one. I have seen life, and life has seen me. My travel and food comes from the stranger whom life desired and planted. I will come among the good, which that strange man loved. Grace came to the good, joy to the true man. The glory of life was when the soul came out of the house of life. Great was the splendor of life on me, and light of life was not lacking. My heart praises life, so that life will count me among its number. With the good I did what life commanded me. I shone in his light. From his light it increased upon me. It put shine and rich light on me, so that I have a support. The great life showed condescension against all who love his name. My mouth praises life, so that it would count me among its number. I heard the call of the Uthras, my brother. I fixed my eyes on her. I rose with great strength. I walked over and came to them with the sign of life, and drew me my guides Silmai and Nidbai, the truth of life. It was turned on my head as a brow curl. The great life shows forbearance against anyone who is marked with the sign of life. Shall the good, the chosen, and the perfect, with whom Kushta took a seat. Life is victorious, and victorious is the man who came here and left. Fourth piece. In the name of the great life, be glorified by the noble light. The pure pearl came, who enlightened the dark hearts, shined and sought to shine, and the light awoke and became. I laughed at the planets and about what they invented and did. I lived in their houses, but the seven did not notice me. Grace is given to the elect who loved life. Woe to the planets. They are plotting evil against my chosen ones. He is the first shining light without end. It is the first life, the life that has always been. Hail to him who listens to you and walking on the path behind you. He was the great shining one when the soul came from the house of the great life. He is the pure wreath, the hibble that is placed in its shkinta. My heart longs for life, so that life may desire me in its shkinta. From the day hibble planted me, my soul confessed the place of light. You are the first calm. Because of you, the Uthras found peace. The 12 wickets were looked out, but do not climb up to the paths of the Kushta. The depths of Nazarutha are extended and endless. He is a sweet fruit from a taste that does not bring death. I heard the call of life in the great place, the house of completion, the call of the great glory, who speaks and lectures in his skinta. He is the great sign with which life is drawn in its shkinta. Who listens to the speech of life finds a way in the shkinta of life. He is the lovely gate, the light without end, and life is victorious. Fifth piece. In the name of the great life, naked the noble left, the world of the deceased, his house stands for desolation, his property for plunder. The abuse of creatures is given to all worlds. You are like the bad vines which bear no fruit. They are mute and deaf, who look out for evil for the children of men. Woe to the evil days which are kept for the Jews in the world. They sow iniquity and reap a harvest of lies. Their heart is full of darkness, and their eyes are blind and do not shine. Error grabbed her, and they do not look at the place of light. They are a day of lamentation. Your soul is your soul's serious illness. All 12 wickets, they are a pit that preserves them for eternity. Your heart is ambiguous to you, and they do not ascend to the light. They are clothed with sins and rob the souls. Your soul is blunted to you, and they have no desire for their wives. You are the poison of murderers who kill the children of men. Water depths are they, eddies that cause drowning. Your mouth is full of lies, and your eyes look evil. Their fruits are dry, which they sow in the world. You are standing outside the kushta and do services outside of grace. They love the beauty of the body and the darkened shadows. Full of sediment and rot your soul is in the world. You are the gate of death and kill the children of men, and life is victorious. Sixth piece. In the name of the great life, I call to you, I teach and I say, you true and faithful men, you who see and are set apart, separate yourselves from the world and for lack of it, which is full of restlessness and error. First I taught you about the King of Light, who for all eternity is praised. I spoke to you about the glorified worlds of light that are about the Uthras, Jordans, and Shkintas. You are miraculous and luminous. Now I want to talk to you about the worlds of darkness and their contents, which are ugly and terrible, and whose shape is not right. Outside the earth of light, outside the earth Tibble, to the south lies the earth of darkness. It is of a form that is different. The earth of light is kind and deviating from the light earth, because they deviate in every character and form, and are different from each other. The darkness exists in their own evil nature, howling darkness, desolate darkness. She knows neither first and last. But the King of Light knows and understands first and last, has past, genes, and the future. He knows and recognizes that the evil one is there, but he did not want to do him any harm. According to what was said, do no harm to the evil and enemies until he has done evil himself. His evil nature exists from the beginning and for all eternity. The world of darkness is extended and endless. They said, far and deep is the abode of the wicked, whose peoples did not show loyalty in the place. Where you stay is endless, whose kingdom is of your own accord. Your earth is black water, its height is dark darkness. Out of the black water the king of darkness was made by his own evil nature, formed and came out. He became great, wonderful, and mighty. He called forth and spread 1,000 times 1,000 evil generations without end, and 10,000 times 10,000 ugly creatures without number. The darkness became great and wide through the demons, devas, geniuses, spirits, Murthas, and Liliths, temple and chapel spirits, idols, archons, angels, vampires, shraits, fiends, and Kurliv spirits, satans, all the ugly figures of the darkness of every species and genus, male and female, from the darkness, dark, black, foolish, unruly, angry, poisonous, rebellious, foolish, putrid, hideous, dirty, and smelly. Some among them are mute, deaf, crammed, dull, stammering, deaf, mute, confused, without knowledge. Some of them are naughty, hot-tempered, violent, sharp, voluptuous, children of blood, kindled and consuming fire. Some of them are magicians, counterfeiters, liars, scammers, robbers, deceivers, swearers, Chaldeans, soothsayers. They are masters in all evils, instigators of distress. They commit murder and shed blood without pity or mercy. They are artists in all ugly things. They know languages without number and understand what is in front of their face. Of any kind they are. Some of them crawl on the belly, some sneak in the water, some fly, some have many feet like the worm of the earth, some carry 100, some have jaws and cutting-edge teeth in the mouth. The taste of their trees is poison and bile. The juice in the oil is bad luck. The king of darkness took all the forms of the children of the world, the head of the eagle, the body of the dragon, the wings of the eagle, the sides of the tortoise, the hands and the feet of the fiends. He walks, creeps, flies, screams, is naughty, threatens, roars, whistles, winks, and flutes. He knows all the languages of the world, but it is stupid, confused. His thoughts are inhibited, and he knows neither first and last, but he knows what is going on in all the worlds. He is of many kinds. He is greater than all of his worlds. He is more powerful and more extensive than all of them. He is more powerful than all of his creatures, and stronger than you. If he so desires, he hides from them that they do not see him. But knowing what is going on in the heart of him who is before him, then the sexes flee from him. He brings them through his word back, and the devas that he desires. He lets them turn back and puts them in front of you. If he wants, he expands his figure. If he wants, he makes himself small. He pulls in his limbs and stretches them out again, and he has the body parts of men as well as women. He takes all secrets as true. He is angry with voice, word, breath, eye, mouth, hand, foot, strength, poison, anger, speech, fear, terror, trembling, roaring. Then all the worlds of darkness are frightened. His figure is ugly, his body stinking, his face twisted. The thickness of the lip of his mouth is 144,000 miles. From the breath of his mouth boils the iron, and the rock is heated by its breath. He lifts his eyes so that the mountains shake. From the whisper of his lips the plains become shaken. He pondered within himself, consulted in his foolish heart, and thought in his cunning. Then he went up and looked into the worlds of darkness, which are vast and endless. He took pride and rose above all and said, "Is there anyone greater than me? Is there anyone who is greater above me? Is there anyone who is greater than I, more extensive and more excellent than all the worlds? There is someone whose food is mountains, in whose belly there is no blood. If there is someone who is more powerful than me, I want to rise up to fight him, and I will rise up to fight with him and see where his power comes from." He hid himself and saw the worlds of light from afar on the borders of darkness and light, like a fire on the peaks of high mountains, like stars shimmering in the firmament, like the glory of the sun when it rises and comes from the east, like the moons in the brightness. He saw the glimmer of that earth of light with burning lamps, which covered with glass vessels and shines outward. He pondered within himself, became enraged, raged with great, and said, "If there is this world, why should this world, the dwelling of darkness, have furnishings ugly and terrible, whose food is black water and dirt? Rather, I want to go to this and rise up to the shining earth and wage war with your king. I will take away the crown from him, will pull it on my head, will be the king of heights and depths." He also said, "If you have a robe, I want to put it on when it's a dish. You eat when you drink. It is the drink when it is the drink of the house, to tear it down when she is constructing it, to destroy it if she has a space, to live in it. If she is something stronger than me, to start arguing with her." He burned in fire, glowed in his mind, heated himself in anger, and wanted to eat up all the worlds. But his ways are confused, its roads blocked, its paths winding. Nevertheless, he gets into a moment beyond the end to the lower limit of the darkness. In the walk of one day he lays a path of 100 years back. Then he said with that shimmering figure he wanted to look up and out of the howling desolate darkness to that luminous figure rising, but he found no gate to enter through, none to walk on to, nor to climb, because the figure he saw was in the height while he was in the depth. How the people, the animals, and the cattle do not go to the height of the sky, nor can they rise. He heated up and glowed like the greedy lion about his prey, and rested and did not rest in his own space. He screamed, neighed, and whistled loudly. The light worlds heard the voice and looked at the figure of the full demon. The fallen army collected itself. They looked and looked at each other like a body whose limbs suddenly began to tremble and sounded like instruments of brass. Then a voice came from the high king of light, and he spoke to the worlds of light and the shkintas of the Uthras. Stay calm, you Uthras, sit in your shkintas. Do not be afraid of the wrath of a dull, evil demon who has fallen into anger. In his own containers he is to be held. He is to be held in his own container. All his plans should come to naught. Come to naught, let his plans and his works not come to pass. Live our knowing, live our understanding, and life is victorious. The seventh piece. In the name of the great life, which is the teaching and revelation that is given to the separated men, which was revealed by Tibble and the works of the seducers, and have set apart. See what I have told you about the worlds of light, and about that there is something in them, sage. I have told you about the world of darkness and its taught creatures. I have spoken to you of the high king of light, whose power is vast, vast and endless, from the vaunted earth, from the Uthras and kings in it, who are in the upper height outside the Tibble, and live in the north, in the place from which the living water comes, through which all the worlds are resplendent, whence shine the sun, brightness, and shine to the moon, shine to the stars, shine to the fire, whence comes the northern air and the pleasant wind. The wind of all winds comes through all the beings that lives in it, and feels comfortable. When the air is just one day and should not hurt, all the souls that are in the Tibble die and go out. If you say that with the northern air comes hail and wrath, then explain, I tell you, that they do not come from the light earth. Rather, the supreme earth of the Tibble are cut extensive mountains. Snow and hail comes, falls on them, and does not melt in winter and summer. From there, when the north wind comes, it blows over it, and the hail comes along with the wind, as if someone were standing under a decaying corpse, and the smell comes at the same time with the wind. The stars and zodiacal images revolve and do not pass at the gate of the north, because there is nothing dark there that needs lighting. It is like a king of the earth who sends an army into a territory far from him. For the illuminators in this world, who are charged with this, to enlighten them, do not have their own gloss. The whole world calls the north height and the south lows, for the worlds of darkness lie in the lowlands to the south. That great ocean of the world encircles the whole Tibble, except the gate of the north, because you cannot cut off the living water from the places of light. All the world testifies that the living water below the throne of God comes forth, but they do not understand that what their mouth is saying. The other, the hot winds that circle between the walls and breaking out between the gates, blowing over the world ocean, because the world ocean is hot and the water is hot. On the lower mountains the breath of the world ocean comes out and melts your snow. Because the world ocean is very similar to the worlds of darkness, the black water is close, because the black water is very dark, and the living of water there is small, for in it the effusion of all the seas which flows into the same falls. No one drinks from it, as they said. It's the black water. This boils, boils, and squirms. Whoever drinks of it dies. Everyone who steps on it burns himself. No one can stand its smell except that he is from it. These zones are distributed over the Tibble. Who is in the upper zone is light-colored. Those living in the lower are black, and their seeing is like demons. Every discerning person knows that the beings of light are here. See, they are not on the Tibble and not in the firmament, because if you were of the firmament, where would you stay and be at heaven and earth? Where would you stay when heaven and earth pass away? For as for the place of the King of Light, there was nothing since he did not, and nothing as he is not, for there is no offense in him. The darkness took over all the ways of the children of men, men that confuse the paths. As they say, you have the world, the path is confused, and inhabitants lie there and are between them, and they are pushed forth by the black water. The more the age decreases, the more they ascend. The ascent of light is, and life is victorious. The 13th book. In the name of the great life, my name will be and that of my wife is raised up beyond the great place in the house of perfection. In the name of the power of the mighty strange life of the Blessed One, who stands above all works, in the name of the second life of the pure Yoshamin, in the name of the third life, whose name is Abathur, the old, high, hidden, preserved, is the name and the power of the Mandadahaya, the exalted one in the worlds of light, in the same of Silmai and Nidbai, who crossed the Jordan of life and the great baptism of the light, and are used, and the souls receive witness, names, and signs. Borrow in the same of Hibel, Sittel, and Anush, the three sons of the living, shining, shining bright, flaunting trunk. We lay priests this testimony concerning the Mandaeans and their sons, those who already know their inner self and perceive their knowledge. So on Sunday and on the eve of the day, do not come to the temple, do not approach and keep the order, do not listen to their priests, and do not get behind the priests, do not perform prayer, do not bow to, and do not take the pita. Kushta is not enough. The community does not establish each other. Do not baptize their sons, their daughters, and do not sign them, nor accept them in their hearts in the belief of the first life, because they have no place with the persecuted and needy sufferers, with whom they have no compassion. Their wives, their sons, and their daughters on the eve of the evening, and they will not send to the temple on Sunday. On the other hand, about all Mandaeans baptized in water, the believing men and women, as well as their sons and daughters, who they already know their inner self, who love their Lord, the mighty, the first life. So nothing was, since this was not, and nothing is, since this was baptized in the Jordan and marked with the sign of life, who came to the temple on the eve of the day and on Sunday to adhere to the beautiful order, to perform the vows, behind the priests who take the pita to the kushta and the common, and baptizing their sons and daughters, the signs of life, in whose hearts the faith and the mighty first life rests, which sympathizes with the needy and has mercy on their wives, sons, and daughters on the eve, and sends them to the temple once a day, and performs the service in their house and alms, and does not stay overnight. Rather, they bring it to the temple, the mighty, the first life, the sublime, which stands above all works, Yoshamin the pure, Abathur the old, the high, the hidden, the preserved, the Razna Urast, the Silmai and Nidbai, who are above the great Jordan of life, and the great baptism of light, are installed in the world, and witness about the souls. Tahil the messenger, whose name Gabriel is, who has the power of life and the word of his Father. The heavens are stretched out without pillars, and the earth without compaction. The stars were formed in the sky, the stars were formed in the sky, the stars were formed in the sky, the stars were formed in the sky. The stars and earth gave fruits, grapes, and trees, shine of the sun, and brightness to the moon, who created Adam with the power of life, gave him Hawa when a woman planted and spoke the blessing over her, so that until the end of the worlds their root and their tribes do not disappear from this world. They are to assist all believers and all Mandaeans baptized in water, who practice all these good works, perform these benefits, live witness and confess Mandadahaya, and praise these three men, the sons of the living, shining, resplendent, bright, luminous of the tribe, and testify and believe in them. This prayer we perform, and this request we pronounce. We, the priests of Mandadahaya, deliver us from the wickedness of this world. May he be our helper, redeemer, and savior from the guardhouses of the planets, from which the souls are afraid, from which swords and calamity and the plague of this world, of the evil plans of the wicked, from the third tongue, which is softer than fat and more cutting than the sword, is from the evil cry, from the corrupt wreath, from the second death and the eyes of harm. The blessing that is over the earth with its condescension, over the sky with its tent roof span, over the shining sun, the moon and night, the stars shining, and the shining in the firmament, about the air, the living water, the fruit of the earth, about Adam the first man, his wife Hawa, his children and tribes, about whom messengers and prophets, about the chosen and perfect, about the faithful and perfect of the light, and were spoken and will for them, as well as their wives, sons, and daughters, their purchases, and their lands and waters, their animals and their goods, their seeds, and their seeds in the field and in the village. May Manda Dahaya be your helper and support in this world of badness. What they seek, they shall find. What they ask, they shall be granted, as well as to their friends and the friends of their friends. Also the Mandaeans who only speak with their mouth at the name Mandadahaya, but without faith in the heart, who were the evil trees, those who drink living water, but do not produce fruit, who are like the predatory wolf and the prostrating lion, who do not come to the temple and do not perform prayer, and do not get behind the priest, and do not take pita, and do not give kushta, who do not establish communion with each other, do not give alms after the temple, and do not bring their wives and children to the temple. They do not send women and children there on the eve of the day, and do not baptize their sons on Sunday, and do not baptize their daughter on the sign of the 20th. The men, the women of the 12 gates, the disciples who enter the 12 gates, which are not teaching, and cannot explain that life is older than death. The light is older than darkness. The good is more excellent than the wicked. The sweet is more pleasant than the bitter. The day is older than the night. The Sunday is older than the Sabbath. Nazorianism is older than Judaism. The upper beings are older than the lower. The waters of the Jordan is older than the turbid waters of the place of darkness, to which your priest speaks instructively, without you pointing to him whose heart is not enlightened, that they may turn to the man who taught them and want to enlighten. Listen to those who leave the call of life and loving the call of darkness, hating the cooperative of life and loving the cooperative of darkness, hating the splendor of light and loving the dwelling of darkness, leaving the Jordan of living water and love the turbid waters. Against them we call these as witnesses. We call the mighty, the first life, as a witness against them. Yoshamin, the pure one, who is attached to the treasures of the water and to the great upper pure gushing of light rests, we call as witnesses against them. Abathur, the ancient, high, hidden, preserved, who lived at the height of enthronement and lived in the depths of the worlds and generations, and understands, who sees what they are doing, who is looking over the souls in order to weigh all the works that they do, we call as witnesses against them. We call Hibble, Sitil, and Anush as witnesses against them, the sun and its brightness, the moon and its brightness. We call as witnesses against them, Sunday and almsgiving. We call as witnesses against them, the call of life, the word, the command and the warning, that from the house of Abathur and from the house of the great first life comes, let them call as witnesses against them. The priests with their sign, their prayers, supplications, hymns, prayers, orders, speeches, the crosses of splendors and the olive rods of the glanzes are called as witnesses against them. This speech, this command, and this warning were given to us from the light soil as awarded. Anush Uthra, the envoy, brought them and gave them to the priests again in order to speak of it to the worlds and generations, and to make them hear, that they may believe, that they may speak, to be heard, to find faith, and not to turn away from it. If someone is aware of this speech, this command, and this warning, Anush Uthra, the messenger, after the word of the wicked, to the great place that abounds in evil, so shall the kingdom turn against him, the sun in its radiance, the moon in its brightness, water in its power, wind in its convenience, the fire in its glow, the earth and its fruits, the sky and its dew, the world and the believers in it, the temple, the priests, the Sunday, the almsgiving, the Pita, Kushta, and Mambuha, the Jordan, Jordan, in which they descended, in which they received baptism, and from which they, if they have received the sign, there shall be witnesses against them. Further, we call these true witnesses against all men and women, boys and girls, who take the name of Mandadahaya, but not to be baptized in the Jordan, and to be baptized with the name, but have not drawn signs of life. They stand apart from the Kushta and do no services outside of grace. We priests teach them and awaken them, but they do not want to hear and do not believe, so they will be held accountable for their own sins. However, if you let yourself be taught by Mandadahaya, who is the first of the messengers and witnesses, according to the will of their Lord, and what the priests tell them to do, so they will be granted a remission of sins. If you do not act and do not listen, this instruction will not bear witness, and will not listen to them if they do not stand firm in faith, and if they do not believe their priests, there will be no remission of sins for them to become a part. If you do not do what you are told, do not adhere to the order, do not bear witness to the teaching recommended to them by the first messenger, so they will be sinners, and because of the works of their hands be held accountable. When you are awake and alert, and the manna who dwells in them is awakened, so they will be in the court of justice, and is not accountable, and the hand of the planets will have no power over them, and their wives and their sons and their daughters who have come, there will be a forgiveness of sins. Even the priests and believers who give this instruction to the Mandaeans will the remission of sins be granted. Life is victorious over all works, life is victorious, but Ruha, her children, her creatures are subject to total for all eternity. 14th book. In the name of the great life, this is the mystery and book of the great Nibat, who came forth. It was lightening up, blossoming, and becoming great. Uthras came forth before him. At the first summoning he spoke and called forth 800 Uthras with an evocation. 2 Uthras came and ascended, Yawar, the presiding one, who was called by name, and the second evocation came and ascended Yoshamin and Sarziwa. In the case of the third generation came and ascended the beloved, chosen, gentle, quiet Uthras, whose names are Sar and Samir. These names became two founded in Ashkinta. Then he spread flourishing, enlightened, and taught. They came forth to this from the right and the left. He spread praise over them, and they shone in their robes. Her radiance mingled together, they shine and shine. Because of their robes there was neither blood nor flesh, there was no ice nor spoilage. At the first evocation that occurred, the Mana Yar Samir, called Yawar, the well-preserved Mana, rose and spoke to the life, his father. You, life, my father, you are great, not low, you are huge, not small. Far is the shine on your right, far is the shine on your left, and great the light above you. This Jordan, there is no living water before you. The Tan is melted and spread from the first container over the earth of the ether. When life, his father, heard these words of Yawarziwa, pleased so much so that it laid the rights on him to give him a wreath, he taught him of his knowledge and taught him. He called it our word. He was called the word of life. Thereupon the first life of his own Shkinta, the great, prayed and praised his father. The word came to him before his father. Then he said to him, you were allowed in your own world everything that you ground in kindness do and is dear to me, but I don't like it when you're making up something ugly. Far be it that there is ugliness with you. Rather come for the blessing which is blessed for you, over you, and the beings of light, let them multiply on the earth of ether, because I am the son of Yawar. With the word of my father I have called you forth, and by his command all that he contrived came to pass. You too do nothing without orders, but act according to my orders. Then become your works to succeed, and your figures will shine with uthras and lights that are created. These will be chosen, gentle and calm. You will shine, and your creatures will shine. What they say will come true, the great ones, their sons, and the creatures that made them created will be maintained. Then the first life of his own Shkinta arose. It flourished and created Jordans in front of him. About each Jordan appointed 2 guardians. The Uthras who crossed the first Jordan, they were called Adatan and Yadatan. On behalf of those Uthras, 800,000 myriads of Uthras were created. On that day were Uthras created without number, and were created in that Jordan of water. There 800,000 myriads of Uthras were baptized and received the character. 1,000 times 1,000 Uthras were baptized and strengthened by light. Then life blossomed, and 360 worlds of light blossomed. It created the gentle first Uthra, the head of creation, and made him the head of his own world. There is nothing that is endless. Myriads of Uthras in that world of life in the Jordan, in which the Uthras were formed in the Shkinta, in which they received the sign. There was no hatred, jealousy, or discord in that Jordan. There was no restlessness, there was no confusion about him, there was no anger about him. Nabat Ziwa swung himself on the water burst forth and rose towards his brilliance. Then they both mixed with each other. You blossom, become enormous, and shine in their shape like a single shining. The water is like the shine, and the shine is like the water. The earth of that Jordan is like a shining tent and an unexplored height. All of them live in the share of life. They shine, shine, and shine. They blossom and yet blossom, and their gestalt flourished. There was no devastation there, nor did the plan show up to the father of Uthras. The splendor of Yoshamin did not accumulate there, and he did not stand out with the Uthras. There were no great powers, but one was more modest than the other, and her heart was calm and humble. The Lord of Greatness rejoiced over his sons, the Uthras, and they rejoiced in their father, the Lord of Greatness, the Lord of Splendor, and shone on each other, and they extolled the splendor of their father, who gave them this splendor and created this world for them. Then life called the Yawar Ziwa, and whose name is 900,000 myriads of Uthras. It created an image, gave it to him, and said to him, "Go, step in front of the second one with this image. We want to see what he says and what he means." Then he stood before him and said to him, "O Yoshamin, son of Demuthaya, my father has sent me here. Yes, life, your father has commanded me." She said, "Yoshamin does not know who you are." Because of the brilliance of the image that gave life to Yuwar, and the whole Shkinta of Yoshamin trembled. The throne of Yoshamin succumbed so that it collapsed. The women who stood in front of him were shaken. Yoshamin rose and wavered. He rose and wavered, for he had no strength to stand before the splendor of the image, which his feet were not on track, and his heart was set before the images, and was tossed restlessly back and forth. Yuwar perceived how much the heart of Yoshamin was frightened, because he softened his brightness and dimmed his light, and inhibited the eyes. The second is to look into the light. Yuwar softened his shine, grasped. He raised him up by the side of his right hand, raised him up in front of him, and said to him, hold on, my son. Behold, the splendor of your father is greater than your splendor. Life, my father, remembered in kindness you. I am Life, the son of Life. Me, his son, has it been sent to you." The heart of Yoshamin immediately assumed haughtiness, and he said, "What does it mean that Life has thought of me? I am a great one." But Yoshamin said to himself, "Life does not know me. Why should Life remember me? It does not bring me up to himself, for my heart is devoid of splendor, cut off from the light." Then Yuwar brought a praise of Yoshamin to Life, and Life felt compassion for Yoshamin. It said the rights upon him. Kushta handed him, and he handed Kushta to his sons. The Uthras, those sitting in front of him for what was to come, had not yet come to pass. Then there is nothing that would be endless. The thought came to the heart of Yoshamin, because then he had this thought. It made him that Life does not come close to him, but because he was his son, he was not angry. He had been created as one from his root. When his plan came up, it was not yet carried out. There is nothing that would be endless, both about what is being done and about what is being created, than about what has been. Yes, life knew what would happen to Yoshamin, but kept quiet and asked. He said, "When will the second become a son for himself, witnesses as he intends it in the sense?" Then Yuar spoke the word, the beloved first creation on which life had pleased and sustained him. And while you, my father, are sitting there asking and talking back and forth, is the word come true? The heart of life calmed down, not about this, but it said to him, "You are entitled to everything that you say." Life gave him a robe over a robe and spoke to Tarel, the Yawar, whose name is Sam Samir Ziwa, is called as follows. Go, throw miraculous living fire of shining light in the middle of our worlds. Our great life and worlds shall be above, and the worlds of the second are supposed to be below. At the border of that place the streams of water flow. There is the limit and the final measure for all worlds. It piled robe over robe for Yawar. It put two keepers, Osar high and Patar high, and granted him gloss over gloss more abundant than he had. Thereupon Yawar released the heart of the great life in great gates. All Uthras exercise excellently what life, my father, advises them to do. Yawar spoke to the Uthras and was heard. He whose name was Samziwa shall. All the Uthras thanked Yawar and thanked life as it was heard from him. Then Yoshamin pondered. His thought became pregnant, and the thought was close to being born in the second. He raised and wanted to create a full creation out of the first Jordan of life, but the two Uthras did not let him. The guards who were over, whose name is Adatan and Yadatan, who perform the baptism, whose signs have accepted life, and whose baptism have confirmed it. You are not authorized, they said to him. For this to make a great Jordan, a creation on which life is the sign, he is the one about whom he speaks and hears, from whom he creates what he wills. Then he said to them, Where shall I go to bring forth creatures, and to create sons, as life created me, and to do as he made his son? To this they replied to him, We are sons, not fathers. There is nothing that is authorized. We only have to grant the Jordan of living water to guard what is in it. You have the power to do everything you do in earnest. So he went and stood at the top of the lower Jordan, under the upper Jordan. He spoke and called forth from him 3 firstborn. They were one, but their image was 2, and this one of anger. Then there is nothing that would be endless. The sons of the second, they shouted to him in their father's Shkinta, while life was silent and kept his own word with him. Then the sons of the second one thought and became pregnant. A thought came to them, and they said to their father, This world which consists of is stretched, and whose shine is very stretched, is yours and our world. Why is it that we do not live in it? Then he said to them, We would rather not live in the world of life like an inmate who has no home of his own, whom the master of the house incites to anger, and anger throws words in the ear. When I live in the world of life, if I had to, he said to them, I would of course stay there. But they said to him, In a world that is not yours, we do not want to sit. Then his father scolded. Her father scolded her violently, but they did not care about that. They scolded their father and wanted to give him ugly advice. Sometimes her father took her advice, sometimes in turn he did not take it. Then Yoshamin said, I will rise up and live so that it may let me carry out what I desire. What comes from within, let me carry out. Life knew what the second was thinking, and it said, Once upon a time, if he acts and it succeeds, then he acts again and it does not succeed. Yoshamin did not know that life has spoken his curse about him. He stood up and listened to what his sons had said. He gave his sons of his strength, his splendor, his power, and sent them to him. And he sent them to them and said, Go, do what you wish, and do what you wish and have advised me. Do what is good and not bad. Then they went to the end of all worlds, to the end of all Shkintas they settled down, and called out and sealed the seal of the white earth, but they did not succeed in creating a shining earth equal to the earth of the ethers. They created and founded everything on the worlds. They created the four sprightly men, created the sons of salvation. Bak Uthra called forth and created for himself a world. Then his two brothers were not with him, for her sense was uphold to him. They did not stand on his side. They did not talk after his speech, and did not listen to his hearing. When Bach called forth and created, he stepped down and looked at this world. She was not far nor great, equal to the worlds of the great life. More, uh, more than that, he looked at his own world. He called himself Father of the Uthras. Like the great life, he called himself Adam the Great. Therefore it angered him from the place of light. Then arose the son of the father of the Uthras, who became his own father, who called Uthras. He named his son Tahil, the opening to which I gave his eyes opened, but he did not see. Then Tahil rose up, the son of the father of the Uthras, who called himself the father of the Uthras. He went and stood by the mixed water and the mixed fire, in which there is living fire and consuming fire, and the water of the earth, in which there is turbid water and living water. He thought and said, I will create Uthras and set up before me how my father created. With the first word he spoke and called out, and it came up, and before him ascended the 7 planets, the corruptors and depraved. There is blood and redness on their robe. Her robe resembles the red color, and it does not glow, and it is not white. They are all good for nothing, because they are the same blood, and her name is in bad taste in the mouth. The souls that depart from here ascend again to their place. Those who have been taken away from here will return home, and not all the souls who profess to be images do not ascend with us, nor are they of us, and will not see the world of the second. The tribe of the souls of the Nazorians do not thank the planet of Leban and Yawar. They rise up because when the life of the Yawar sent to Tahil and all the evil angels, they live our knowing, they live our understanding. They live of those who understand and of those who understand. Life for men who teach us, life is fixed in its shkinta, life is victorious. 15th book, first piece. Anush, the word on the mission of life. In the name of the great life, he glorified by the noble light. I am the word, a son of words, who came here in the name of Yawar the great life, called, commissioned, and equipped me. Anush, the great Uthra, the son of the mighty, it called, instructed, and encouraged me. It created helpers for me. The helpers who created it for me were gentle, firm Uthras. It sent me out to guard the age, to rouse the slumbers for their slumber. And it spoke to me, go, form yourself an appendix from the tibble, like the appendage we have formed. Choose and get chosen out of the world. Choose true men and women who are good and faithful. Choose and get the souls who are worthy and worthy of the place of light. Grant them teachings by which they are to be instructed. Grant them secret spells so that you can show your miracle powers to the friends there. Let them speak to you in their pure voice, and to overthrow Namrus from her throne. Fear infects the planets, the lords of the world. Teach the Nazorians, Mandians, and the elect, whom you have chosen from the world, who are persecuted in the name of the life, the Tibble. It speaks to him. Choose the Kushta, and lead them up to the light abode. Choose them and consolidate them, so that they would be without defect and lacking. Teach them about the prayers, hymns, and prayer orders, so that they may see the content of the light and teach themselves. Teach the souls so that they do not die and perish, do not die and be inhibited in the darkness. Namru shall not spoil them. Don't get caught up in music in the spaces of revelry. It speaks, when you go to the earth, Tibble, don't let the evil ones know about you, and the splendor of your garment shall not be darkened. They should not rush you down from the upper firmament, and they do not throw yourself into the place of darkness. Fear and do not be afraid afraid, and don't say, I'm standing there alone. When fear attacks you, we will all be with you. We will all go to you, and they will be your helpers. We will be your helpers, and rid yourself of all the ugly. Teach the Zorians, Mandians, and the elect, whom you have chosen from the world. Speak to them of prayer and praise, that they do it in large numbers, and it is without defect and lack. They should not perform prayer at night and in the dark, at a time when prayer remains hidden. Who do not perform the prayer in his time will be tied at the gate of the house of life. You will be tied up at the gate of the house of life until the gate of the house of Abathur is opened. When the great gate of the house of Abathur is opened, prayer and praise will ascend to their place. Prayer and praise will ascend to their place and be hidden in the place from which they came. Who does not perform prayer and bowing in their time will be subjected to an examination in the house of Abathur. He will be tested in the house of Abathur because of the useless things he has practiced in this world. My chosen ones, I want to tell you about the individual mysteries which Namrus has distributed over this world. I want to talk to you about the evil poisons which has cast Namrus among the great tribe of life. She threw among many disciples hatred, jealousy, and discord. My chosen ones, I call you, and I say, the sins of the Namrus, and you shall not commit the 7 planets. Who commits their sins, they will die in the shackle of black water. Who practices their works will be killed by the sword and the saber of the planets. He will be slain by the sword and the saber, and he will be burned in the consuming fire. His name will be torn out of the house of the great life, and he will not find a share in the light. Who walks in the earth of Equors will boil in seething cauldrons. Who drinks wine in the tavern, you will be cut in saws, and a woman who puts gold and silver on, she will die a double death. Who lies with his wife and does not wash himself with water will find his place in the body of Leviathan. Every woman who does not wash herself with water will be received blow by blow. The keeper of the light will beat you, and she will be cut off from the place of light. The pure name will curse you, and the vein of living water, which is endless. If anyone in his wife, after the uncleanness and menstrual, washes already on that first day she lies with her, so his name will be cut off from the house of the great life. He will be left standing in clouds of darkness. They will leave him standing in clouds of darkness, and his eyes will not see the light. Who eats of the food of the 12 gates will disappear from the world, far from the light, to wish for a share of turbidity. Yes, at the end of the last age there will be among the priests such who are without zeal and dignity, without reason and order, and there the purity of the Jordan has not found a place. Until the 15th year of life the father becomes, because of sins, his children will be held accountable, so he will not warn them with voice and cry out. He did not wake up from sleep. He did not pray and praise. They do not follow the paths of the Kushta and the faith, and let the place of light go. When the 15th year of the life approaches, the children become accountable for their own sins. Who delivers his daughter to the 12 gates, he will be left in mourning and lamentation. They will let him sit in mourning and lamentation, and the wreath of darkness will be placed on his head, and he will be placed the wreath of darkness, and he will be whipped with fire whips.